Good morning to Dr. Janice. My group, which is Group 4, will present our research topic, that is issue and challenges of digital era to senior citizens with disabilities. Based on our research background, we will use technology acceptance model, which is developed by Davis in 1989, since it is related to our topic and we want to know the acceptance level of senior citizens. So we found that aging is a major societal concern and the number of older people is rapidly increasing. Therefore, we want to examine whether the education level, conservative mindset, and adaptation level can influence the ability of senior citizens with disabilities to adapt to technology. Due to the time limitations, our research target is only senior citizens that are living at Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, and we will use the primary data such as questionnaire to gain information from them. And we conduct this research is to examine the problems faced by senior citizens when using the technology, and it can be a reference to policy maker to address the related problem faced by senior citizens, and it can also increase the awareness of young students to teach their aging parents to adapt and use the technology. That's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Baltari Mohan, number matrix BB2310172. I'll be presenting about the literature review part. In this theoretical review, there are two theories that have been looked up. That is from the technological acceptance model, which known as TAM, and also from Bandura's social connective theory, that is SCT. Next is about the empirical review. Based on the study that conducted by M. Scrader and Tinker, Penn and Jordan Marsh, M.C. Kloski and Rio, it showed that older adults' acceptance and adoption of technology are influenced by factors such as perceived needs, usefulness, ease of use, social norms, and openness to change. Next slide is about a current or related issue in the world that have connection to this research. The issue is about the 81-year-old woman who is facing a digital gap due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The second issue is about the prevalence of online fraud, which define that the senior citizens are a common target of cyber fraudsters in today's connected world. The third issue is that over 16 million US residents are lacking of internet access, and the last issue is about the struggles to teach older people to use technology. Next is about the challenges the senior citizens face in the digital era. There are three of it, and the first one is about physical limitation. The second is to understanding how it works, and the last one is about keeping up with the change. Some of the solutions that can overcome the challenges. First is disability mainstream that ensure inclusive development. Second is prioritizing accessibility in facilities and digital products and ensuring accessible public services through ICT, including disaster warnings and welfare programs. Next is participatory approaches that involve people with disability in disability inclusive development, promoting affordable assistive technology, and the last is promoting universal accessibility to bridge the gap between individuals with and without disability. That's all from me. Thank you.
For this research, we are using a quantitative research design using the secondary data and primary data. For secondary data, we use existing literature review and studies related to our research. And for primary data, we distribute a questionnaire to the senior citizen with disability within the range age of 60 to 79 years old. Meanwhile, for our conceptual framework, it consists of three independent variables, which are education level, conservative mindset, and adaptation levels. And the dependent variables is the ability of senior citizens to adapt to technology. In this research, we have created three research hypotheses to examine the relationship between the IV and DV that I had just mentioned just now. We want to know whether there is no significant relationship between the IV and DV, or there is a significant relationship between the IV and DV.
The research instrument for this study consists of a structured questionnaire divided into 5 sections. The first section is about the demographic background. This section aims to collect basic demographic information about the participants. Next is the ability to adapt to technology, where this section assesses the ability of senior citizens with disabilities to adapt to technology. In Section 3, participants are asked about their education levels, including their educational background. Besides that, Section 4 is about a conservative mindset that aims to understand their attitudes towards technology and their willingness to embrace new advancement. Lastly, adaptation level. This section is to explore the relationship between adaptation level and the ability of senior citizens with disabilities to adapt to technology. Next, we also utilize a probability technique for our research by employing the simple random sampling method as part of our probability sampling framework. We can confidently gather data that accurately represent the ability of senior citizens with disabilities to adapt to technology. The target population for this research is senior citizens with disabilities within the age range of 60 to 79. The focus is on understanding the challenges that influence their ability to effectively use and adapt to various technological devices and systems. For the data collection section, we have established a research framework and developed a cover letter and invitation letter, which serve as the groundwork for our study. To streamline the data collection process, we create a Google form and integrate our previously designed questionnaires into it and share the questionnaires link into popular social media. Lastly, for the data analysis section, there are numerous instruments that we are going to utilize in our data analysis, which is available in Chapter 4. Firstly, we will use the pilot tests, which are preliminary tests or research performed prior to a large-scale investigation. Next, we will record our collection data in the frequency statistic table. Thirdly, we will use descriptive analysis to describe the characteristics of the dataset. After that, we will examine the correlation coefficient between the dependent variable and the dependent variables by using correlation analysis. Lastly, we will use multiple regression analysis to analyze the relationship between a single independent variable and 3 dependent variables.
My name is Azran Shazwi bin Abdul Razak and my matrix number is BB2110720. I will continue with data analysis. Pilot test exam factor dependability. This SPSS research comprise 30 participants. Pilot test structure Cronbach alpha. Education level Cronbach alpha is 0.949. For education level, question accurately measure the concept. Conservative mindset for item Cronbach alpha is 0.806. Adaptation level for item and 0.709 Cronbach alpha indicate high internal consistency. The frequency table covers survey respondent, age, gender, area, and handicap type. 33.8% are 60 until 64. 32.5% are 65 until 69. Senior in their early to mid-90s dominate the sample. 97.5% are male, 42.5% are female. Men predominate this study. 27.5% resident in cities, 18.8% in suburbans, and 88.8% are rurally. Rural responders dominate this map. 45% reported physical impairment, 53.8% have visual impairment, 27.5% hearing impairment, 3.7% have cognitive issue. Disable senior technology adoption hurdles are listed above. After examining each variable, respondent average technologies adoption is 2.4599, indicating modest degree. The active respondents standard deviation of 1.4320 suggests 1.4320 suggests diverse skill. For education level, 1.9722, conservative attitude score average 3.2593 with a standard deviation of 1.6096. Adjusting moderate conservative respondents' mean readability is 3.1064, which is moderate. Participant adaptation variability suggests 1.4340 standard deviation. Next, Pearson correlation coefficient appear in the elderly, handicap, folks, and technology correlation matrix. Education, conservatism, and adaptability positively connect with technology adaptation, TAA. Technology adapt with education, conservatism, and adaptability. Conservative, older, handicapped people with greater education are indicated by TEL and TCMs. 0.709 positive correlation. Finally, a significant positive association, 0.885 between TCM, conservative mentality, and TAL adaptation level, implies that conservatism aids technological adaptation. Regression education analysis elderly technology use, the dependent variable is ability of senior citizen with disability to adapt to technology, while the independent variables are education level, conservative mindset, and adaptation level. All three criteria influence technological adaptation according to research. Higher education disabled elderly person may utilize technology better. 82.4% of technological adaptation variance is explained by independent factor, with 29 independent variable and a small sample size. The adjusted R-square value of 0.807 is cautious. F value is 5.66 times 10 to the power of negative 29. Senior with disabilities, technological adaptation depend on education, conservatism, and flexibility.
My name is Balkis binti Muhammad Reza. My matrix number is BB2310321. I will present about limitation and recommendation. So for first recommendation is increased representativeness of senior citizens with disabilities by recruiting diverse samples and collaborating. Second, the potential for selection bias is in participant recruitment, which can impact the validity and generalizability of the research findings. And third recommendation is allocate sufficient time to investigate the multifaceted nature of these challenges. Future researchers should address limitation in previous research on digital challenges for senior citizens with disabilities. Addressing sample size selection bias and time constraint can improve understanding and contribute to better digital experiences and inclusivity. And lastly, discussion and conclusion. The analysis shows that senior citizens with disabilities have a moderate ability to adapt to technology with variability among participants. Education levels are low, requiring support and resources to improve technology adaptation skills. Moderate conservatism may influence willingness to adopt new technologies. Higher education, a conservative mindset, and adaptation contribute to improve technology adaptation skills. I think that's all from our group. Thank you.